In the quiet spaces between our words, there is a rhythm, an intricate symphony of moments where each challenge and silence is not a mere pause, but a purposeful note in the grand design of our lives. We live as threads in a tapestry woven not by chance, but by divine intention. Each of us is part of a cosmic dance, moving through seasons of growth and stillness, and in the spaces where we do not speak, the universe listens. The stories we tell are but fragments of a larger tale, one we cannot fully see, yet one we are intricately part of. To guard your peace is not to hide from the world, but to honor the sacredness of your journey, knowing that in silence there is wisdom, in stillness there is movement. Remember, you are not alone in this unfolding. Every moment, every breath is part of something much greater than you can fathom. Cross the dance. You ever notice how life often feels like it's one long conversation, full of constant updates, opinions, and demands for attention? It's almost as if we've forgotten how to simply be quiet, how to just sit with ourselves without needing to fill the space with words. But here's the thing, silence isn't an absence. It's not void. It's a presence, a sacred presence that we often overlook in the noise of our day-to-day lives. And in that silence, that's where the magic is. That's where you find peace. In the rush to share every little detail of what's going on in our lives, we lose sight of something crucial. There's a power in being still. Think about it. How often do you stop and simply breathe with no need to explain to anyone what you're doing? How often do you find yourself in a moment completely immersed without the need to tell the world about it? I'm not talking about cutting off communication entirely. I'm talking about creating space where you can sit with your thoughts, your feelings, and without interference. And in that space, you don't need to announce your every move. You don't need to constantly be explaining, justifying, or narrating. When we protect our peace by keeping certain things to ourselves, we're honoring something far deeper than our need for attention or approval. We're acknowledging that the journey we're on is ours alone, a sacred path with twists, turns, and pauses that don't always need to be shared for them to have meaning. Life is so much more than what others can see or understand about you. It's about what's unfolding within you, and you can't always put that into words. Sometimes the most important moments in life don't need to be spoken out loud. They need to be lived quietly, felt deeply, and understood only by you. There's a kind of peace that comes from this. It's like stepping into a room where the noise of the world fades away, and the only sound is the steady rhythm of your heartbeat. You don't have to justify your actions or explain your choices to anyone. You don't have to reveal everything you're going through, because in that space of silence, you're connected to something far greater than the need for external validation. It's as if you become part of the natural rhythm of the world around you. And when you protect that stillness, you allow the deeper wisdom of the universe to flow through you. You're not interrupting the flow with endless words. You're simply being. And here's the irony. The more you practice this silence, the more you start to hear, not just the sound of your own thoughts, but the subtle whispers of life guiding you forward. The more we talk, the more we drown out those whispers. Every time you feel compelled to explain, to vent, or to share just to feel seen, you step away from that subtle, intuitive guidance that has been there all along. Because deep down, we all know that we don't need to broadcast every moment to feel seen or validated. Our worth doesn't come from others' recognition. It comes from the quiet moments where we realize, I am enough as I am. In that silence, we also begin to hear the rhythm of our own growth. We start to see that every challenge we face, every struggle we endure, is part of a larger cosmic dance. It's not something we need to shout about or broadcast to everyone. Some parts of your journey are meant to be experienced in solitude, in the quietude of your own mind and heart, where you can connect with the essence of who you are and who you are becoming. It's not about avoiding the world. It's about recognizing that your inner world is just as important and just as real as the external one. We can't always share every step of our journey with others because it's not about others. It's about you shit. It's about the sacredness of your path, the unfolding of your life that will never look exactly like anyone else's. So when you choose to protect that space, you're not isolating yourself from the world. You're making room for something deeper, something more profound. You're choosing to listen to your own voice over the constant hum of external noise. You're allowing yourself to be guided by your intuition, your purpose, your divine calling, without needing to explain every twist and turn to someone else. This isn't just about protecting your peace. It's about respecting the journey of your soul. Because there's a beauty in those unsaid moments, the ones where you simply exist without needing to explain, justify, or show off your life. It's in those quiet moments that the most profound growth occurs. So stop telling everyone what's happening in your life. Protect the peace of your inner world, and in doing so, you'll hear the whispers of your higher self guiding you toward the next step in the dance. The truth is, the more we speak, the more we risk disturbing the sacred rhythm of our own unfolding. And if we don't learn to protect that, we might find ourselves disconnected from the very essence of our being. But when we embrace the power of silence, we tap into a deeper current of peace, a peace that doesn't depend on anyone else's approval. That peace is all we need. When you stop telling everyone everything, you're not hiding or retreating. You're giving yourself the space to hear life's quiet whispers and to trust in the sacred unfolding of your journey. And that, my friends, is where the magic begins. It's funny how much we find ourselves caught up in needing to share our lives with others. How many times do you pause, look at your phone, and think, I should tell someone about this? The reality is, we're so conditioned to share, to broadcast, to keep everyone in the loop, as if our lives can't have meaning unless someone else is watching or listening. But here's the thing. The need for external validation can quietly steal your peace. It can cloud clarity. And the more we seek it, the more we drift away from our authentic selves. Think about it for a second. How many decisions do you make in a day based on what others will think or say? Whether it's choosing what to wear, what to post, or how to react in a situation, we're constantly performing. We're putting on a show, filtering our lives through the lens of what we think others want to see. And in doing that, we lose touch with the one person whose opinion matters the most, our own. When we seek validation from others, we hand over our power. We start living for the applause, the likes, the comments, the approval. And the truth is, that kind of approval never feels permanent. It's like chasing the horizon. You get close, and then it moves further away. You get one compliment, one nod of approval, and suddenly you're hungry for the next. But it's a hunger that can never truly be satisfied. If you're constantly waiting for someone to tell you that you're doing okay, that you're on the right track, you might end up feeling lost because external validation will never give you the deep, unwavering sense of worth that comes from within. We're so quick to give away our self-worth to others, like it's something we can trade or earn. But your worth isn't something that's given to you by anyone. It's something that's inherent in you, something that's there from the moment you were born. It's already inside you. When you stop seeking that constant approval, you begin to realize that your journey is yours alone. You don't need others to define your worth because you already know it. You already understand the quiet truth that you are enough. You are worthy not because someone else says so, but because you exist. The challenge then is learning to trust that knowing, to trust your own sense of self, even when the world around you doesn't always seem to acknowledge it. This is where the beauty of silence and introspection comes in. When you stop constantly updating everyone on your life, when you stop seeking others' opinions, you create space to reconnect with your true self. You give yourself the room to hear your own thoughts, to reflect on your own actions, and to move at your own pace without feeling the need to justify every decision to anyone else. In these quiet moments that you begin to realize, I don't need permission from anyone to be who I am. I don't need someone else's approval to feel good about my choices. I'm enough just as I am. This shift is powerful and it's transformative. Imagine living a life where you don't have to keep explaining yourself, where your choices are made based on what feels right for you, not what will make others happy or what will get the most likes or what will lead to the most applause. Can you feel the weight lifting off your shoulders? That's the freedom that comes from realizing that your worth doesn't come from what others think of you. It's a freedom that allows you to show up as your most authentic self, not as a version of you that's been shaped by the approval of others. Now, I'm not saying that we should completely cut ourselves off from the people we love or stop sharing our lives altogether. What I'm saying is that when you stop sharing just for the sake of validation, you open up space for deeper, more meaningful connections. You stop worrying about how your life looks from the outside, and you start living in alignment with what feels true to you. You stop chasing after empty praise and start cultivating a relationship with yourself that's grounded in trust, respect, and love. And here's where it gets even more interesting. When you stop living for validation, you begin to attract the people who are meant to be in your life. You start to surround yourself with those who see you for who you truly are, not for the version of you that you've carefully curated for public consumption. These relationships are deeper, more authentic, and far more fulfilling because they're built on the foundation of truth, not performance. When you stop seeking approval, you give people the opportunity to love you for the person you truly are, without the filter, without the pretense, without the need to approve yourself. But here's the kicker. When you stop looking for validation, you also stop doubting your own worth. The more you seek validation from others, the more you distance yourself from that quiet inner knowing that you are enough. You begin to rely on the opinions of others to define your sense of self, and that's when the self-doubt creeps in. You question every decision, every choice, wondering if it's right because you're waiting for someone to tell you it's okay. But when you trust your own worth, you no longer need that reassurance. You make decisions based on what feels aligned with your truth, not based on what will earn you applause. Living without the constant need for validation brings a sense of peace that can't be found anywhere else. It's the kind of peace that comes from knowing you are whole, just as you are. You no longer need to explain yourself or seek approval because you understand that your worth is intrinsic. It doesn't come from others. It comes from the simple truth of your existence. So here's the lesson. Stop seeking validation from others. Stop looking outside yourself for the approval that already resides within you. When you learn to honor your own sense of self-worth, you'll discover a peace that is deeper, more fulfilling, and far more lasting than any external validation could ever provide. And that we all go through challenges, big ones, small ones that make us question everything, and others that barely make a ripple. And in those moments, we often find ourselves thinking, why me? Why now? What's the point of all this? But if we look deeper, if we stop long enough to truly reflect, we start to see something incredible. Every challenge, every obstacle, every moment of discomfort is part of something far greater. It's part of a bigger picture that we can't always see, and yet we're intricately woven into it. Life isn't just a series of random events. It's a beautifully designed process, and we are each playing a vital role in it. We tend to get caught up in the surface level struggles, the ones that feel urgent and personal. We see ourselves as isolated in our experiences, as if we're the only ones going through this, as if we're standing alone in the chaos. But that's just an illusion. The truth is, you are part of something much larger than yourself, a vast, interconnected web of people, moments, and energies that is constantly unfolding. And everything you go through, everything you experience is part of this grand cosmic dance. We may not always understand it, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. When we start to see ourselves as integral parts of this larger design, everything changes. The struggles don't feel so isolated anymore. We begin to realize that we're not just going through random, disconnected events. Instead, every challenge we face is a step in a process that we're meant to experience. Every hardship, every difficulty is an invitation to learn, grow, and become more aligned with our true purpose. Think about it. When you're in the middle of something difficult, when you're facing a challenge that feels overwhelming, it's easy to get lost in the moment. It feels personal, as if the world is against you, as if you're somehow being singled out. But the reality is, you're not being punished. You're being refined, just like an artist chisels away at a block of marble to reveal the masterpiece hidden within. Life is chiseling away at you. The parts that don't serve you, the parts that are holding you back are being carved away. And in the process, your true potential is being revealed. It's not always comfortable, but it's always purposeful. The challenges we face are like the movements in a symphony, sometimes loud, sometimes quiet, sometimes chaotic, but always part of the overall design. Without these movements, the symphony would be incomplete. The high notes wouldn't be as powerful without the low ones. The crescendos wouldn't have the same impact without the moments of silence in between. Life, too, is a symphony, and you're a part of it. You may not understand why certain things happen, but that doesn't mean they aren't important. They're essential notes in your life song. Each moment is leading you somewhere, even if you can't see the destination yet. When we start to embrace this idea that we are not just individuals going through isolated experiences, but part of something much greater, it changes the way we handle challenges. Instead of seeing them as obstacles to overcome, we begin to see them as opportunities to align ourselves more deeply with the rhythm of the universe. Instead of feeling like victims of our circumstances, we start to feel like active participants in the dance of life, contributing our unique energy to the larger flow. This shift in perspective is profound. When you stop seeing yourself as separate from the world around you, when you stop viewing your struggles as isolated events, you begin to feel a sense of peace in the midst of chaos. You realize that life is unfolding exactly as it should, and every challenge you face is a part of that larger unfolding. You don't need to understand everything, and you don't need to have all the answers right now. You just need to trust the process. And trust doesn't come easily, does it? Especially when things get tough, we're conditioned to want answers, to want control, to want to know exactly where we're going and how we're going to get there. But life isn't always about knowing the destination. Sometimes it's about trusting that the path is leading you exactly where you need to go, even when it doesn't make sense. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to be present, to be open, and to trust that every step is leading you toward your highest good. The beauty of this journey is that you are never alone in it. You're connected to something greater, whether you believe that's a divine energy, the universe, or the collective consciousness of humanity. Every challenge you face is part of the larger story of life, a story that you are contributing to in your unique way. The symphony of existence would not be complete without your notes. The tapestry of life would not be as rich without the thread of your experiences. So, the next time you find yourself in the middle of a struggle, take a deep breath and remember, you are not alone. This challenge is part of something much larger, a design you can't yet see, but that is unfolding exactly as it should. Your journey is connected to the journeys of countless others. You are not just going through this. You are part of the dance, part of the flow. And every movement, every step, every note you play matters. Trust that this challenge, this moment of struggle, is a necessary part of your unique contribution to the greater whole. Trust that in the grand symphony of existence, your life is a vital movement, your experiences a vital note. And when you embrace that, when you recognize that you are part of something far greater than yourself, peace will begin to emerge from the very heart of life's unfolding. The struggle will no longer feel like an interruption. It will feel like a step forward in the larger rhythm of your existence. You are a vital part of the unfolding of the universe, and without you, the symphony wouldn't be the same. When you think about peace, what comes to mind? Maybe it's a quiet moment with a cup of coffee, or sitting by the ocean, letting the sound of the waves soothe your mind. But real peace, true peace, isn't about avoiding chaos or running from the messiness of life. It's about cultivating something deeper, something more internal. It's about finding a sanctuary inside of yourself, even when the world around you feels like it's falling apart. And the first step toward that kind of peace is learning to protect it. You see, we're living in a world that is constantly pulling at us. Everyone wants something from us: our time, our attention, our energy. It's like we're running on a never-ending treadmill of demands, and at some point, it feels like we're going to fall off. That constant pressure, the noise, the rush, it can drown out the most important thing we need in order to thrive: our peace. And when we lose that peace, we lose ourselves. Now, protecting your peace doesn't mean shutting out the world or becoming cold or indifferent. It's not about building walls and pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's about understanding that you have a responsibility to take care of your own mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Because if you don't take care of it, no one else will. If you don't guard your peace, the chaos of life will come in and fill every corner, leaving you with nothing but exhaustion and overwhelm. Think about how much energy we waste constantly reacting to what's happening around us. Someone cuts you off in traffic, and your whole day shifts. Your boss sends an email demanding something last minute, and your peace is gone. Your friend makes a comment on social media that leaves you feeling uneasy, and suddenly you're distracted, mentally replaying the situation. It's exhausting, isn't it? The world constantly pulling at you in every direction. It's like we've been trained to be on alert all the time, ready to react to every little thing that happens. But that's not peace. That's stress. That's tension. And it's draining your energy. What if instead of reacting to everything, you could choose your response? What if you could create space between what happens and how you respond? That's what protecting your peace looks like. It's about creating boundaries, both with the outside world and with yourself, so that you don't give away your energy or let other people's drama steal your joy. When you guard your peace, you're making a commitment to yourself, saying, I am worth it. My mental, emotional, and spiritual health matters. And protecting your peace means understanding that not everything, not everyone deserves access to your energy. I know that sounds harsh, but hear me out. There are people, situations, and conversations that drain you. They take and take, leaving you feeling empty, frustrated, and overwhelmed. It's easy to feel guilty for not giving more of yourself, for not being there for others. But at some point, you have to ask yourself, am I giving so much of myself that I no longer have anything left to give? You can't pour from an empty cup. If you keep allowing others to take your peace, to take your time, to take your energy without giving back, eventually, you'll have nothing left for yourself. And when you have nothing left for yourself, you're no good to anyone. That's why protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's a way of ensuring that you stay full, so you can show up as the best version of yourself, not just for others, but for yourself too. Think about your peace like a precious garden. If you don't tend to it, if you don't water it, protect it from the weeds and nurture it, the weeds will take over. Your garden will become a chaotic mess. But when you actively protect it, when you set boundaries around what can enter and leave your space, you create a place of tranquility and beauty, a space where you can grow and flourish. And the most incredible thing is when you protect that space, it overflows. It overflows into every aspect of your life. When your peace is protected, your relationships improve, your work becomes more meaningful, and you move through life with more ease, more joy, and more clarity. I know it's not always easy. I know there are days when the demands of life feel too much, when the chaos seems overwhelming. But here's the truth. You have the power to control how much of that chaos you let in. You can choose where you put your energy, where you put your focus, and how much you allow the noise of the world to disturb your inner calm. And let's be real. There will always be challenges. There will always be distractions, people who want your time, and situations that threaten to pull you off course. That's just part of life. But the more you practice protecting your peace, the more you'll begin to notice when it's slipping away. You'll start to recognize the signs, the racing thoughts, the irritation, the feeling of being pulled in 1,000 directions. And when you catch yourself, you can take a step back, reset, and protect that peace once again. The thing is, Life is always moving, always changing, and always demanding something from you. But when you protect your peace, you move with life, not against it. You flow with the rhythms of existence, knowing that you can handle whatever comes your way because you've cultivated a space of calm inside. And when you're calm, you're clear. You can make better decisions. You can respond from a place of wisdom instead of reaction. And you can remain grounded no matter what life throws at you. At the end of the day, protecting your peace is the most radical act of self-love you can practice. And when you choose yourself, when you protect your peace, you're not just improving your own life, you're setting an example for everyone around you. You're showing them that it's possible to move through life with grace, with intention, and with peace. And that, my friends, is the most powerful thing you can do. We've all been there. The moment when you're caught in the noise, whether it's the constant hum of expectations, the weight of your to-do list, or the pressure to always have an answer, to always be on. It's exhausting, isn't it? We spend so much of our time in a state of constant movement, constantly checking off tasks, constantly looking to the future, and rarely stopping to reflect on the present moment. But what if in all this striving, we're missing something essential? What if we're so focused on moving forward that we forget the power of stillness? The truth is, stillness is where the magic happens. It's in the quiet, in the pause, in the moments of reflection where the most profound insights arise. But our world doesn't always make space for that. We're conditioned to think that if we're not busy, we're not productive. If we're not moving forward, we're falling behind. But this constant hustle can wear us down. We find ourselves in a never-ending cycle of doing without being, of achieving without truly understanding why we're striving in the first place. Stillness isn't about being passive or lazy. It's about being intentional. It's about giving yourself the space to hear your own thoughts, to check in with your own feelings, and to reconnect with the things that truly matter. When we take a step back and allow ourselves the gift of stillness, we begin to tap into a deeper knowing. We start to listen more closely to our intuition, to that quiet voice inside that's always guiding us, even when the world is screaming in the background. But here's the catch. It's not always easy to embrace stillness. We're so used to being busy, to filling every moment with activity, that silence can feel uncomfortable. We're afraid of what we might hear, or worse, what we might feel when we stop moving long enough to truly be with ourselves. It's easy to fill the space with distractions, checking your phone, scrolling through social media, turning on the TV, but all of that just muddies the water. Stillness requires a willingness to face whatever comes up, whether it's uncomfortable emotions, difficult truths, or simply the realization that we've been running on autopilot for far too long. Yet, when we lean into that discomfort, when we allow ourselves to sit in the silence, we start to uncover something beautiful. In the stillness, we find clarity. We find the answers that we've been searching for, not from external sources, but from within ourselves. We realize that we've been carrying the weight of so many things that don't even matter. We start to see our lives from a higher perspective, recognizing patterns, connections, and insights that were always there, but were too easily drowned out by the noise. Think about it. How often do you take a moment to simply be? To be present with your thoughts, your feelings, your body, without the constant need to do or perform? When was the last time you just stopped and listened to the quiet? Most of us are so used to filling every moment with noise, whether it's the hum of the world or the buzz of our own mind, that we forget how powerful it can be to simply sit in stillness. Stillness is a powerful tool for self-awareness. When you're constantly moving, constantly doing, you're disconnected from the present moment. You're disconnected from your own inner world, but in stillness, you reconnect. You allow yourself to be fully present with yourself, to process your emotions, to observe your thoughts without judgment, and to simply be in the moment. It's in those moments of quiet where you learn about who you really are, beyond the roles you play or the expectations you meet. You get in touch with your essence, your truth, and your own unique rhythm. And this is where peace comes in. The more you allow stillness into your life, the more peace you'll find. Peace isn't something you can chase or grab hold of. It's not something you can force or manufacture. Peace is a byproduct of living in alignment with your true self, and that alignment comes from the stillness. When you allow yourself the space to breathe, to reflect, to be present, you align yourself with the flow of life, and peace naturally follows. But the beauty of stillness doesn't stop there. Nana, it's not just about finding peace, it's also about finding purpose. In the silence, you start to hear your deeper calling. You start to understand what truly matters to you, what your soul craves, and what you're meant to contribute to the world. And that's when everything shifts. You stop chasing after things that don't serve you. You stop filling your time with things that drain you, and you start showing up for the things that bring you joy and fulfillment and a sense of meaning. Now, don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean you need to spend all your time in solitude or in deep reflection. Life still requires action, but the key is finding the balance between doing and being. Stillness isn't about avoiding action. It's about making sure that the actions you do take are aligned with your true desires and values. When you give yourself time to be still, you make space for clarity, for insight, and for inspiration. You begin to act from a place of purpose, not from a place of reaction. So how do you create stillness in your life? It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't need hours of meditation or a complete lifestyle overhaul. It can be as simple as taking a few minutes in the morning to breathe deeply, to sit in silence, or to journal your thoughts. It could be a walk in nature with no phone, no distractions, just the sound of your feet on the ground and the rhythm of your breath. It's about carving out pockets of peace throughout your day, allowing yourself the space to stop, listen, and just be. When you do this, when you embrace stillness, you'll begin to feel a shift. You'll start to notice how much more present you are in your life, how much more aware of your thoughts and feelings you become. You'll begin to recognize the wisdom that's always been there. And in those moments of stillness, you'll uncover the clarity, peace, and purpose you've been seeking all along. So let me ask you this. What if everything you've been chasing, all the noise, all the doing, what if it's not the answer? What if the answer is simply to pause, to breathe, and to be still? In that stillness, you'll find more than you ever imagined. And in that stillness, you'll find the peace that you've been searching for all along. We all love the idea of progress, don't we? We're conditioned to think that life is a constant push forward, that growth is linear, and that if we're not moving forward at all times, we're somehow falling behind. But here's the truth. Progress doesn't always look like what we expect. In fact, sometimes progress looks like stepping back, taking a breath, or simply allowing yourself the time to pause. And that's okay. Life isn't this neat, linear path of consistent improvement. If we really stop and look at it, life is more like a spiral, a journey that moves forward and backward, but always with a deeper understanding at each turn. Sometimes the greatest growth happens in the pauses. It's in those quiet moments of reflection, of sitting still with yourself, that you realize how far you've come, even if it doesn't feel like progress. We live in a world that thrives on hustle, that rewards busyness, and pushes us to constantly do, achieve, and move faster. But in this rush, we often forget that growth requires patience. It's not about checking things off a list. It's about embracing the journey, allowing yourself the space to evolve, and trusting that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. I know it's hard to trust the process sometimes. We get impatient. We look around and see other people moving forward, achieving things we've been dreaming of, and it's easy to feel like we're falling behind. But progress isn't always about achieving something. It's not always about crossing a finish line. Real progress, the kind that transforms you at the core, is often invisible. It's the growth that happens inside, in your heart and mind, in the way you learn to be at peace with where you are, in the way you allow yourself to sit with uncertainty. One of the most freeing things you can do is accept that you don't have to have everything figured out right now. You don't have to know the exact path you're walking on or how everything will unfold. What matters is showing up for yourself every day, doing your best, and allowing the journey to unfold, trusting that you're moving forward in ways that may not always be visible to you in the moment. Think about the times when you've gone through something tough, a challenge, a setback, something that felt like a huge detour from the path you thought you were on. In those moments, it's easy to think that you're failing, that you're not making progress, or that you're stuck. But those setbacks often hold the greatest lessons. They teach us resilience, they help us refine our direction, and they prepare us for what's coming next. Progress is not always smooth. It's full of twists, turns, and unexpected detours. We often look for validation from the outside world. We want to hear that we're on the right track, that we're making progress, and that's understandable. But real progress doesn't always come with a loud applause. It doesn't come with the recognition from others or a tangible result. Real progress happens quietly, often in the moments when we're alone with our thoughts, when we're questioning ourselves, when we're reevaluating the path we've taken and deciding to make a change. When we stop sharing every detail of our journey with the world, when we stop measuring our worth against others, something incredible happens. We start to find our own pace. We stop comparing ourselves to the people around us and start appreciating the unique path we're on. It's easy to get caught in the trap of I should be farther along by now, or why aren't things happening as fast as I thought they would? But the truth is, life doesn't run on a timeline. Your journey is yours alone, and the pace that's right for you may be different than what's right for someone else. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be. Progress happens when you stop forcing it and start flowing with it. It's not about putting yourself on someone else's schedule or comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. It's about embracing where you are right now and giving yourself the grace to move at your own pace. You're exactly where you need to be. You see, when you're constantly sharing every step of your journey with the world, you're looking for external validation. You're allowing other people's opinions to shape your sense of progress. But here's the truth. Only you can define your own progress. Only you know what's truly important to you, what aligns with your values, and what moves you closer to your purpose. And that's why protecting your peace and holding on to your journey is so important. The more you stay rooted in your own truth, the more you can move through life with confidence, regardless of what others are doing. It's time to redefine progress. It's not about checking boxes or making everyone else see that you're moving forward. It's about trusting that you are, even when it doesn't feel like it. Progress is in the small shifts, in the moments of clarity, in the times when you choose to act from a place of inner peace instead of reaction. It's in the way you learn to trust the timing of your life, knowing that every step, no matter how small, brings you closer to who you're meant to be. So stop looking for validation in the wrong places. Stop measuring yourself against others' timelines. Progress isn't always something you can see in the moment, but it's happening. Every time you choose peace over chaos, every time you protect your energy, every time you embrace the stillness and reflect on your journey, you're making progress. And when you stop telling everyone your story, when you stop seeking approval from the outside world, you'll find the freedom to move forward in ways you've never imagined. You don't need to explain yourself to anyone. The journey is yours to walk at your own pace, and that's the most powerful progress you can make.